I did not think Zoran Mamdani was gonna prove me right this early. I honestly thought a month, maybe 2 months before, I was like, you know what? It's like what I said, people, because it seemed like things are crumbling down pretty fast. What's going on, YouTube? It's your host, Bruce GNT, and we're here to talk about what Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, might have to do when it comes to getting some extra money, right? Because originally his plan was to put a tax on the 1%, the people that make over $1 million. And I think even businesses that, made a certain amount, right? It was going to be a tax of like 2%, right? Like I said in many videos, and like I'm saying right now, a lot of people were against it. The governor was against it. The people that Albany was against it. The people that, pretty much approved certain things like that. And no one was in his corner, all right? In a previous video that actually not too long dropped, maybe like yesterday when this is uploaded, I had said, if he doesn't get the money from taxing the 1%, he's gonna find himself in a pickle to where he's gonna have to raise property taxes. So this is his tweet that he released today, a few hours ago. Actually, yeah, at 11:08 a.m. Let's go through it. Today, I'm releasing the city's preliminary budget. After years of fiscal mismanagement, we're staring at a $5.4 billion budget gap and two paths. One, Albany can raise taxes on the ultra wealthy and the most profitable corporations and address the fiscal imbalance between our city and state. The other, a last resort, balance the budget on the backs of working people using the only tools at the city's disposal, property taxes. And I think other taxes when it comes to like income and everything like that, but mostly property taxes. The first path matches a structural crisis with a sustainable and fair solution. I know where I stand. New Yorkers voted for a bold change and competent leadership. We will deliver both, and we look forward to partnering with Albany to protect working New Yorkers. So, like I said in my video, right, he's gonna have no choice but to raise property taxes because, like I was saying before he got in, like I'm saying now, a lot of stuff that he was promising were things that were above his level, meaning the governor and people at the state have to approve of. If they do not approve of it, or if they don't like it, all that shit that he was talking about in the campaign is not going to come to fruition. And I don't know why people wasn't understanding this. They were just saying, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do this. It's like, no. You're not understanding something. He needs to get approval. He needs to have people backing him. Because if not, and like I said, many different times, Kathy Hochul's not going to take that risk. Because Kathy Hochul is up for election this year. Well, trying to get reelected, I should say. And she's not trying to rock the boat. I don't know. I already know what direction this is going to go. All right. I could already tell where this is going. I mean, we're going to have a Chicago 2.0, and this one might be a little bit worse. So this is a video I want to jump into and like discuss, because I think he goes into it a little bit deeper.
This is a fiscal crisis that was not created by working and middle-class New Yorkers. It should not be placed on their backs in order for the city to resolve it.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani repeatedly emphasized he does not want to raise property taxes on New Yorkers already struggling to afford their homes, nor dip into the city's rainy day fund. He's presenting state leaders with an ultimatum to help him fill the $5.4 billion hole in the city budget. Raise taxes on millionaires or corporations, or he'll have no choice but to raise those property taxes. The mayor was asked repeatedly about if New Yorkers would feel betrayed.
We're not talking about free buses. We're talking about dipping into the rainy day fund. We're not talking about taxing millionaires. We're talking about taxing working class people.
Well, I am talking about taxing millionaires. What we need to do is reckon with the structural nature of this and put ourselves back on the kind of footing that allows us to advance an agenda.
The budget gap is mainly due to ballooning rental assistance programs and spending to reduce class sizes in schools. The mayor says he's already working to find savings throughout city government, but budget observers like the Citizens Budget Commission call a wealth tax versus property tax debate a false choice.
The best option is to dig into the agencies, identify spending that is helping New Yorkers and keep it, that is not helping New Yorkers and shrink it or eliminating it.
And local,
like what many people have said this entire time, not just for New York, other states and cities as well. Look at what's being spent and see if it's making a difference in the lives of the people that's supposed to be supporting, in this case, New Yorkers. All right. We already know and see that a lot of the social services, even though they're good for people, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. A lot of the social services are draining the budget of New York, along with, because they're not talking about it, they're not addressing it. What was going on with the migrants and everything like that. That's what really effed up the budget. And Eric Adams, the former mayor, talked about this, and yet no one heeded his warning. No one wanted to pay attention. And who knows, maybe they do know that and they just don't want to publicly say it because it's going to basically say, hey, look, we made a oopsie. We did a no-no. Like we fucked it up a little bit, because he's continuing on with the same things for the most part. I've said it once and I'm going to keep saying it throughout this entire video like a broken record. Him trying to get like a wealth tax on them is not going to work. It's not gonna work. And you know what? It's funny because every time they had conversations and they say, "Aren't you worried millionaires are going to leave?" He said, "Oh, I don't think they're going to leave. They're not going to leave." And the numbers are showing that they're not leaving like that. Maybe this is why, because maybe the millionaires knew something that he didn't, and maybe because they have context within the government, because these people do, and they just knew, oh yeah, he's not going to get this passed. Oh word, you know what? I don't need to worry about moving. Who knows? Maybe that's why. That's what I think.
Leaders who generally support the mayor say a property tax hike is a non-starter.
We have to stand up for homeowners, in particular black and brown homeowners, who have always been disproportionately taxed.
Governor Kathy Hochul has worked with the mayor on the budget and is already pledging more than $3 billion to help pay for his child care plans and to stabilize the budget. She, too, is skeptical of new taxes.
I'm not supportive of property tax increase. I don't know that that's necessary. But let's find out what is really necessary for him to close that gap.
And the mayor says if he has to do this, and again, he says he really does not want to. He's proposing a 9.5% across-the-board property tax increase against 3 million homeowners or property owners and 100,000 commercial properties. The Speaker of the City Council, the council would have to approve this, says this is not on the table right now. She wants to work with the mayor to find savings and efficiencies before a tax hike conversation even begins. Live at City Hall, Henry.
Yeah. They're going to have to find the money somewhere. I don't know, and I'm not intimate with the budget over there in New York, but one thing I can tell you is that I can guarantee that there's some waste and maybe a little bit of fraud, but definitely some waste over there in New York. There's some wiggle room. There's some savings that could be made. But a key thing that they spoke about that I kind of want to harp on a little bit is that Kathy Hochul spoke about, getting at least $3 billion to help him with his, universal child care and everything like that, which is a great thing. I'm not against that. But you can't try to advocate for all these different things, right, with an effed up budget. New York's budget is fucked. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It is. And the things that he's proposing is if New York had a fantastic budget. It does not. So something's going to have to give. All right. A 9.5% tax hike on property. Whoo. That's steep. That's not gonna be fun for people. It's not gonna be fun for people. And I've said it before, and I was talking about it when he was on the campaign trail. People say he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. I was like, y'all have to understand something. If he does not get the right backing, i.e., from the governor and the people upstate, it's not gonna work. If they do not back him, they do not support him, which seemingly they're not, because don't worry about what Kathy Hochul's saying right there. All right, she said time and time again she's not doing the wealth tax. She's not doing that. All right, they're gonna try to posture and talk in circles when it comes to them saying basically, hey, look, we don't want to raise property taxes, but we don't want to raise the wealth tax, so we're gonna try to find something in the middle. There may not be something in the middle. There may not be. And as it stands right now, the way I see it, I could be off. I feel like Albany is tired of bailing New York out in certain cases. And I think what New York City is trying to do is they're trying to use the fact that they're bringing a whole lot of money to the state as leverage to say, hey, look, you may be helping us out right now, but overall, we help the state billions of dollars worth. So, help me out a little bit. But like I said, I think Albany's tired of that. I think they're tired of doing that. And they can see his other plans that he has set in store for the city. And they're just like, look, you sound like a bill. And we're not trying to take that on. Well, you guys already know the drill. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Do you see this going in the way of property taxes, or them somehow finding the way of, finding some wiggle room, finding some ways to cut down on certain expenses and then save some money so they could add that to the budget? Or do you feel like they're going to actually implement the wealth tax? I don't. I think that's a non-starter. Honestly, sadly, I think they're going to lean more towards the property taxes. I think they're going to try to wait it out as long as they can. And then once they find out it's not going to be enough over here, and over here is not working, they're going to jump right over to the property taxes, and the people in New York are going to suffer a little bit. But that's just what I think. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.